Hi, this is Sam with Mesa Properties, here to talk to you about a new law that goes into effect on January 1st that will affect you, and that is AB 628, otherwise known as the Refrigerator and Stove Law. This new law requires landlords to provide both refrigerators and stoves, and it doesn't just require that they provide those, it actually makes those two items part of the habitability requirements for a unit to be considered habitable or a property to be considered habitable. So not having a refrigerator or not having a stove or having a refrigerator or stove that doesn't work is the same as not having hot and cold running water or plumbing or locking doors. It really does create some liability if you do not have one of these things. So we at Mesa Properties have been doing some work behind the scenes to prepare for this law going into effect. All of our properties right now, as it stands, have refrigerators in them because either the owner has provided it, you put one in there when you rented the home out, or the tenant brought their own. And the law does allow for tenants to provide their own refrigerator, but they do have to indicate on the lease that they want to provide their own and that they understand that it is the owner's responsibility to provide and maintain one. And that at any time, if they do bring their own, and even if they're in the middle of a lease, if they decide they want the owner to provide a refrigerator, then it gives you, the owner, 30 days to provide them with a refrigerator. So even if your tenant elects to bring their own refrigerator, they can change their mind during the lease term, and then you would be required to install and then maintain a refrigerator for them. I'm focusing mostly on refrigerators because we already require stoves, we already maintain stoves, so nothing really changes in the Mesa process around stoves. It's really the refrigerator thing, because historically we have said if we provide one to tenants, we provide it without warranty. It's almost like, hey, we'll leave this there for you and you can use it for as long as it works, but if it breaks, you got to bring your own. We cannot do that anymore. We have to provide them with a refrigerator. This doesn't just go into effect, though, on January 1st for everybody. This goes into effect January 1st for any leases that are entered into, extended, or amended. So that means if you have a month-to-month lease on January 1st, you are then extending the lease on February 1st when you accept rent, and then the month-to-month continues. So at that point, this law would go into effect for you. But if you're on a fixed-term lease that doesn't expire until July, let's say, then this law doesn't go into effect until that lease expires. So, like I said, we've been working behind the scenes here at Mesa to prepare for this, and we've worked with Lowe's. We have our own representative at Lowe's. We've negotiated some special pricing because of the bulk that we are anticipating that we're going to do with the number of properties that we manage that are going to need refrigerators. And so we are able to provide two options for you. Then we can get it installed. We can get the old refrigerator hauled away for the tenant if they've got one, obviously at their expense, if it's their fridge. And so your property manager will reach out when it comes time. And here's a couple of options for you. Very basic. Essentially, one will have water and ice and one will not. So you can make your choice on which one you want. The one without water and ice is obviously a little bit cheaper, but you may want to provide one with water and ice. For example, if you plan on moving back in, or if you just think that having that is for nicer properties especially, we think that's a good idea. So not to get too much into the weeds, because we'll have additional emails and videos to tell you about that when it comes your time to do that. We are also obviously updating our lease to have the correct language that this law now requires that we provide. And additionally, when your property goes vacant, if it was a tenant provided refrigerator and they take it with them, then prior to renting it out again, obviously we will require that you put a refrigerator in there. You can do that yourself during a vacancy, or obviously we would be happy to do that with our Lowe's discount that, again, we have negotiated because of the bulk that we will be able to do. So that's the news. It does affect your wallet, but here at Mesa Properties, we like to allow you to own rental property without it owning you, which means that you shouldn't have to do additional work because new laws go into effect. So we're trying to take all of the administrative burden off of your shoulders, and we can handle this entire thing for you. Obviously, you got to write the check because that's what California lawmakers have deemed as now your responsibility. But we, as your property management team, will take care of all of the logistics for you. So it shouldn't be too much of a headache for you. So if you have any questions, you can certainly let us know. Again, we're going to reach out to you when this goes into effect. So it's not like we're putting a fridge in your house tomorrow. This is going to roll out over the course of the next few months. But I did want to give you a heads up so that you are aware of it and can be prepared when that time comes. Thank you so much for allowing us to manage your property and partner with you to enable you to own rental property without it owning you.